from across the state of Montana from the last week. We also have a Garden City Spotlight highlighting some of the best Missoula-specific storylines. And we also have our latest Chicken Doesn't Know Sports. Carolyn, the Chicken Doesn't Know Sports, joins us weekly, usually on Thursdays or Fridays. But we're getting it in today because we have no show Thursday or Friday. So we're working ahead. Recorded with Carolyn earlier this morning. You're going to want to hear this one. It's very, very funny. Appreciate her for her consistent and stellar contributions here on Nuanez Now. And then, of course, we also have a senior spotlight, courtesy of our good buddy, Andrew Houghton, the program director here at ESPN Radio, as well as a contributing co-host here on Nuanez Now. So there you go. That's what's coming up. If you're watching on TV, I got sweat on my brow. That's because it's 1,000,000 degrees outside. Hopefully it's hot where you're at. Hopefully you have a chance to enjoy it. That's what we root for. You know, when it's negative 20 here in Montana, we're looking forward to these 95-degree days. But that's where we're at here on the 1st of July. 4th of July coming up. 4th of July is certainly one of my favorite holidays. What's your favorite holiday? Carolyn and I talked about this, and we'll play that for you here in the second hour. But I love the 4th of July. I think that, first of all, holidays have become so, how do you say, commonplace. They've become influenced, and in certain ways, an opportunity, but also an excuse to celebrate anything is a great thing, right? And you look at the American calendar now, and there's a government holiday basically every 6 weeks, and there's some sort of holiday worth celebrating every 3 to 4 weeks. And you can look at it on both sides. You can look at it from the Valentine's Day hallmark perspective of it's capitalism in a nutshell, right? You can look at the way that Christmas has been. Capitalism has had such a huge influence on that. But on the other hand, it's a great reason to either remember, pay homage to, or come together on a variety of many different things. And I think that holidays like Memorial Day, Labor Day, Flag Day, Armistice Day, those sort of holidays where we're remembering historical events that fundamentally changed the arc of our history as a people, those are important. Thanksgiving is always just a time to wind down. Christmas, it is what it is. I love and hate Christmas at the same time. Easter, all these sort of things. I love the 4th of July. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's not only the height of summer, the culmination of the time when we all cumulatively decide that we're going to slow down, be with each other, hang out, barbecue, drink some beer, whatever. It's not only the celebration of the independence of America, which, let's be completely frank and honest, I know that we've gotten to this point in America now where there's so many different things that are pressing and so many different things that are inflammatory and so many different things that are omnipresent, yet also worth a debate, yet also divisive. We have such unbelievable freedom. I'm sitting here talking on a microphone about sports for a living, and you're sitting here listening, no matter what you're listening on. That's freedom, man. Like, that's what it is. So that's a ultimate peak of the 4th of July. But then after that, it's also, to me at least, the least stressful holiday. Height of summer. Come to my party, wear whatever you want. You want to wear board shorts and a tank top? I don't care. I couldn't care less. Bring me some Modelo's or some Coronas or some PBRs. It's all good. We're grilling burgers and dogs. We're lighting off some fire. I mean, you know how it goes. Thanksgiving's a wonderful communal event. Christmas is an awesome family occasion. But you absolutely, if you're listening to this show, there's like a 99.9% chance that someone in your family or you or both are so stressed out leading up to Thanksgiving. Who's going to cook the dinner? Who's hosting the dinner? Where's everybody going to sit? What's everybody drinking? What's everybody eating? Is there food allergies? Christmas. Do we have the presents taken care of? How do we have enough money to have the presents? Who's hosting? How we do in morning? How we do in afternoon? Maybe this family member wants to do it just with their kids in the morning. Then how are we doing an afternoon get together? How do we get our parents and our aunts and uncles our presents? How do we do it? It's so stressful. People stress out. I don't stress out about it because I'm a non-stress person when it comes to planning because we're just going to let it ride. I just think it's a waste of time and energy to stress out because, like, we'll just figure it out. But I get how it can be stressful for so many people. 4th of July, it's like, well, it's July 1st. I still don't have my 4th of July plan solidified. But I know I'm going to call my buddies. Who's in town, who's not? Oh, you're going to the lake? Great. See you later. Have fun at the lake. Oh, you're staying in town? Great. You want to come over? Oh, maybe I'll come to your house. Whose house should we do it at? I'll buy some fireworks. I'll buy some beer. We'll have some brats. Perfect. I love it. So hopefully everybody's geared up for a fun 4th of July, and it should be a good time. Also, a little bit of a new addition here with the Zootown Music Festival. Still, again, apprehensive is the wrong word. Worried's the wrong word. None of that. I'm keenly interested to see how it goes. What's the logistics like? What's the whole parameter of it all, right? At the fairgrounds. What's it like when you're standing there at the two different stages? How do you get from here to there? What's it like going to the bathroom? What's it like getting a hot dog? Or whatever the food is? What's it like getting a beer? I don't know. So lots of stuff to determine, but a headlining lineup, and we're going to continue to play songs by the headliners. Our playlist today will include Casey Musgraves, Jason Isbell, Hosier, Modest Mouse, and Lake Street Dive. No Mount Joy, but we'll have some Mount Joy for you tomorrow as well. Again, another PSA. No show Thursday, no show Friday. We'll be back at it to a mostly regular schedule the following week. But that's what's coming up. Here we are, 4th of July week, the peak of summer, and that's why we are going to talk a bunch of Big Sky Conference football. You want to stream the show? You always can. 1029ESPN.com. You can also use the ESPN MT app. You can also use YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, 406-888-1029. All guests will join us via the elevated tax and accounting phone line. We are coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal has 24-hour turnaround times and a commitment to doing what they say they're going to do. Locally owned and veteran-owned. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage. Andrew, I can't quite see around my pictures that are blocking. Oh, there's your beautiful hair. Just making sure you're back there. All right, so where do we want to start here today? I made this gigantic list of Big Sky Conference questions, and I figured that would last us days, if not weeks, and here we are. So we've talked a fair amount about the big storylines for Montana, Montana State, Idaho. We've talked about the over-unders for playoff teams out of the Big Sky Conference. We've talked about, I thought yesterday's conversation was very intriguing in terms of the teams in the Big Sky Conference that have had, last year, Montana State and Idaho had among their best seasons in school history. UC Davis had, I think, definitively their best season in D1 history. None of those three teams are primed to have that much historic success, yet we think that those three teams are all going to be in the mix. The Grizz, their bar for historic success is very, very high. So I don't think they're going to try to attain that this year. But, I guess let's start there. Grizz go 12-0 in the regular season with an 8-game schedule. They run through the playoffs. They win the national championship. Where does that rank among the greatest Grizz teams of all time? And what does that say about the Grizz program in the here and now in this Big Sky Conference?
It kind of depends on who they beat in the championship game.
No doubt. If they slay North Dakota State,
that's the greatest team of all time.
It vaults them huge, right? I would still say it's the second greatest team of all time because the 95 team beat Marshall.
Yeah.
And that Marshall team was, they were on their ascent. They played that game in Huntington, West Virginia, which was a quote-unquote neutral site, but that's just used to be where the 1AA championship was, and it just happened to be on Marshall's home field. I mean, if you listen to the Grizz Greats podcast, 1995 rendition, that was a common theme. You had multiple people saying like, hey, this is a quote-unquote neutral site. It was 30,000 fans and 27,000 of them were Marshall fans. So I think it's near impossible to topple the 95 Grizz as the greatest Grizz team of all time. But I still agree. If the Grizz this year went 15 or 16-0, whatever the math works out to total games, and toppled North Dakota State in the national championship game, I agree. They have to be at the bare minimum Mount Rushmore of Grizz football teams, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the national championship, I think there's something, 95 is so tough also just because it was the first one. And
that's right.
And it's, there's something similar here because it's the first one after the program falls into a valley and has to come all the way back up to the mountaintop, and there's such a great narrative about that. But, nothing beats the first one, especially when you were as good as that 95 team was. It's really difficult.
Well, it also is so easy for people that have been in – I hate the Grizz Nation, the Bobcat Nation thing, but we'll just use it for the sake of conversation here. People that have been in quote-unquote Grizz Nation, it's so hard to remember before the beginning of time, right? Like I consider the beginning of time for modern-day Grizz football in 1989 when they made the semifinals. But that 95 team stands alone because, you're right, it was the first one. But it also wasn't like they had ever been close.
Right.
Like they had a couple playoff runs or whatever, but it was like this nuclear moment, and it also reestablished the Grizz as the brand and also the flagship of the Big Sky Conference. And it also announced, okay, Idaho, Boise State, Nevada, they're all gone. Okay, here we are. We rule this league. And then they did rule the league for basically the next 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, it set up everything that came after it, right?
Exactly.
There is no dominance. There's no Bobby Houck without that 1995 championship
Amen.
team. There's and that's difficult to overemphasize, right? You gotta prove that you can do it first before you can ever go do it again.
Exactly. And it colored every other run since then. Okay, so in or out and chiming in behind the glass here on Nuanez Now. I have said my 2 cents, 4 cents, 50 cents, 99 cents on what I think of the state of the Big Sky Conference, and I will continue to preach this both on the positive and the negative. Where are you at right now with where the league sits in terms of its status as an FCS conference on the national level?
It's in the same place that it's been for the last couple seasons, the last several seasons, for longer than that, actually.
The post-pandemic, basically, right?
I mean, to me, even longer than that. But yeah,
basically since you've covered it.
The post-pandemic, because the rise of Idaho really only came in the post-pandemic years, and that's a big part of the league. I think this year and going forward as well. But the Big Sky Conference is in the place where the biggest question about the Big Sky Conference doesn't actually have to do with the Big Sky Conference at all. It's what are the two teams in the Dakotas going to look like? Because that's the only thing that's stopping you from being definitively the best FCS conference in the country, the most dominant, the deepest, and the one that's the favorite to win the national championship. And it doesn't really matter what the teams at the top of the Big Sky Conference looks like. It matters what North Dakota State and South Dakota State look like.
Okay, so weigh this for me. I was thinking about this today. We know North Dakota State's the standard. The only school that's threatened the standard over the last 15 years, honestly, has been South Dakota State.
Well, James Madison before they left.
And James Madison.
But yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of current FCS members, it's North Dakota State overwhelmingly, then South Dakota State. Then I think it's very definitively easy to say third, outside of James Madison, who won the 2016 national championship, is Montana State.
I agree.
Then the Grizz have had flickering moments where you're like, yep, they're there. They deserve to be fourth. And also flickering moments where you're like, well, what's the deal with the Grizz? They're like the great outlier where they're not in this top four, and why aren't they, given their head coach, their prestige, their fan base, all these sort of things. But then there's this next tier. So rank these for me, because I think the next tier involves North Dakota and South Dakota, because high tides raise all ships, right? North Dakota, South Dakota, who are the peers to the Dakota States, UC Davis, and Idaho. Who's in the best position, do you think, in total for those schools? And are the Grizz, I guess, two-part question. Who's in the best position out of those four schools, and are the Grizz superior, inferior, or equal to that next group that's outside? I think there's a two-tier group in the top, a third-place team all alone, and then this next group. Hash it out for me. Who's where?
Oh, the Grizz are definitely part of that next group.
They have to be.
They definitely are.
They are by default, even despite themselves sometimes, right?
Yeah, even through the down years, there's just no way that they fall out of that group consistently, because the rest of the FCS just isn't quite to the rest of the FCS isn't to that level, so they have to be in that group by default. It's tough for me to speak about what's going on at North Dakota and South Dakota.
Well, it's brand new head coaches.
That's right.
Bob Nielsen retired at South Dakota after having his greatest team. So we'll see how they react. But as you know, I agree. I'm not at a 30,000-foot view, but I'm at a 5,000-foot view.
Yeah,
you lose I have had mad respect for Bob Nielsen since I first interviewed him back in 2008 when he was the head coach of Minnesota Duluth. He's a national championship caliber coach. He's a class act, and it's not just because he wears a tie at all times. Like he's a really good coach. He's a really steady coach. I think it's hard to be better than they were last year. That was the greatest team in South Dakota history,
and had the greatest moments in South Dakota history.
And Marquise Gray is transferred.
Yep.
Travis Tice, the unbelievable running back. Yeah, he's moved on. They do have Aiden Bauman back, the quarterback, but I think it's almost certain that South Dakota, takes a step back. North Dakota has been Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Basically, when they're at home, they are one of the greatest teams in the FCS. When they're on the road, they lose to Indiana State. It's wild to think about, but that's how they are. And then, like last year, they beat the Grizz and lost to Indiana State. That sums them up in a nutshell. Bubba Schweigert, the head coach there for a long time, he decided to retire. So now they have a new head coach in Eric Schmidt. He's new in terms of his title, but he's been there. He was the defensive coordinator. He's been on the Big Sky Breakdown podcast on Skyline. So I don't know if it's an objective upgrade or downgrade. I think North Dakota has a chance to just be pretty right there, like a 5-3 team in Missouri Valley Conference. And then Davis, to me, is Grizz and Davis are the two out of this four that are. Oh, and Idaho, too. We'll get to Idaho in a minute. But big year for the Grizz, huge year for Davis, though. Tim Plow took over for Dan Hawkins. He elevated the program, certainly. He had one of the great playoff runs the school has seen. He also loses Miles Hastings and Lan Larison. So it's an interesting group to analyze, because I think from a resource and interest perspective, they all deserve to be right there as the favorites for those top 8 seeds. But there is huge question marks about each of those teams that aren't in that definitive top 3.
Yeah, but out of that group, I think you're right, is that UC Davis has got the most momentum.
Yes.
UC Davis has the most energy around the program. I mean, the Grizz always have that, but as long as Tim Plow is there for UC Davis, I think that's just that they're going to be right at the top of that third tier, and they're the team that might be the closest towards taking the step up, right? Tim Plow's a phenomenal coach. Miles Hastings last year was really, really good, but I don't think it's the kind of irreplaceable that you're maybe seeing at Montana State with Tommy Mellott. I mean, how many tight end throwbacks and running back screens and just really wide open stuff did we see Tim Plow dial up for that team. And they've also got the momentum around the athletic department, right? They're going to the Mountain West in all their sports except for football. You think probably football's following that in a couple of years. I think that brings like a surge, a jolt of energy around it.
And I think people listening around here are probably screaming and yelling, well, the Grizz draw 26,000. Idaho draws 15,000. North Dakota 14,000. South Dakota even draws 10 to 12,000. UC Davis is lucky to get 10 on a good day. But that's the thing we got to keep reminding people, and that's the part that's so hard to understand about this level of football. Your ticket sales, your ticket revenue is such, especially considering where you are located and how much subsidization do you get from the state you are located in. It's not the ultimate determining factor. And I think that's so hard for people to wrap their minds around. The Grizz draw more than everybody else in the FCS. Why aren't the Grizz then the richest and most successful team in the FCS? The Bobcats are doing their darndest, and they are right there. Why aren't they as well? It's so far beyond that, and so many of those things don't matter. They do matter, but they are not of the pinnacle importance, and that's the part that's hard for people to understand. And so when you say that UC Davis has the most upward momentum as a program, you're correct. And I just think that there's a lot of people
listening. And it has
listening.
nothing to do with how many people are going to the games.
That's right. They're going to draw 10 to 12,000, and most of the people that are there are going to be laying on a blanket, drinking some wine, eating some fruit, having a pretzel. It just is what it is. We're at Washington Grizzly Stadium. People are tailgating for 3 hours. They got the brisket. They got the beers. We're raging. Like, let's go. It's crazy. We're making an impact on the game. It's the same. It's not the same thing, and that's exactly why, to come fully back around, this isn't even the conversation we were having, but it's why it's time for the Grizz and the Cats to move on from the Big Sky Conference. But that's not the conversation we're having at this exact moment, because I totally agree with you. UC Davis does have the most upward momentum of these teams, but Idaho's probably right there on their heels, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes for North Dakota and South Dakota under new head coaches.
That's right. And then the fifth team, right, is the Grizz. If the Grizz get it right, the Grizz don't need upward momentum because you're going to have that fan base there every week. All you got to do is get the talent on the field, and the momentum will come by itself, regardless of how you're going into the season. All you got to do
is have 1 or 0 conference losses going into November and beat the Cats, and that's it. It is the easiest formula in the world in terms. It's not easy to enact. It's easy to define, though. Double-digit wins going into late November, you beat the rival, you're rolling, period. If you get home games throughout the playoffs, even just till the quarterfinals, you're money. If you get it through the semis, you're going to Frisco, or I guess now you're going to Nashville.
Oh yeah.
But like that's just how it is, man. Like that's it. This is what is frustrating to me. It's not frustrating. It's just so simplistic. If the Grizz get a draw of home games through the playoffs, the Grizz are going to the Natty. If the Cats get a draw of home games through the playoffs, the Cats are going to the Natty.
So are the Grizz then up in that? Is that the argument for the Grizz being up in that second tier? Because that's the same for Montana State and the Dakota States as well.
Well, this comes all the way back around to the thing that I've been ranting on until I'm blue in the face for almost 20 years. There shouldn't be tiers when it comes to the Grizz. It's the Grizz and everybody else. But that has not been the case. And that's what makes our jobs as both broadcasters here on ESPN Radio and writers at Skyline Sports ultimately fascinating. It's why the Grizz are unbelievable fodder. Because there's always this question of, why aren't the Grizz just the best? Like, why isn't this just the best? And I fully understand the nuance that comes into full cost of attendance and funding and indoor practice facilities and all that. And that's the definitive advantages the Dakota States have. That's fine. The Grizz should be nowhere less than third. Ever. And I still think the Grizz are going to be good this year. And I still think that their preseason fourth at best and probably more like fifth, sixth, or seventh. And that's why this job is so fun, because the question is why. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. We didn't get to a single talking point of what I had on the list, and that's why this show is great when it comes to the month of July. We'll get to some of those more big questions, some smarter or dumb, some Andrew, have you heard? We'll take a break for now. We'll come back. Treasure State Stars, some of the best individual performances from around the state of Montana. We also got some free sandwiches for you, courtesy of Taglieri Deli. Tag Tuesday every Tuesday here on Nuanez Now. That's all next. Don't change that dial. Keep right here at 102.9 ESPN Radio.
For 20 years, there's been a sound that's helped define Missoula. A sound as unique as the people who call this place home. The Trail 1033. We're grateful. We're honored. We remain true to the community and true to the music. Tune in for the celebration. Tune in for the party. Tune in for the next 20 years. We can hardly wait.
I can't wait.
The Trail 1033.
What are you drinking?
I think I'll have a 56.
56 Counties American Light Lager. A beer for Montanans and friends of Montanans.
In the Treasure State, University of Montana football is a way of life. Lithia Ford has long been a proud sponsor of Grizz football, and Lithia Ford of Missoula is thrilled to have several of the best Montana football seniors driving the best trucks in Montana. Aspen Sound is the premier car audio and accessory shop in Montana. Aspen Sound makes sure the boys are riding in style with tinted windows and state-of-the-art stereo systems. There's always a party in Montana. Whether you're going to a concert, a wedding, or a football game, the Montana Party Bus will get you there. Skyline Sports and ESPN MT cover the Big Sky with more depth than anyone. Check out SkylineSportsMT.com and tune in to Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula every day. My Montana Roots and Wear Your Roots clothing is your go-to spot for the most unique and comfortable lifestyle clothing you'll find anywhere. And get your custom t-shirts to support your favorite player. From 5 local businesses who love Montana, best of luck to the Grizz as they pursue another Big Sky Conference championship.
Access to Montana's great backyard is the best part of being a Grizzly. At the University of Montana, our classrooms are the mountain peaks, river valleys, and never-ending plains of the Big Sky country. We provide students with the hands-on training to protect and enjoy hunting, conservation, and stewardship. UM launches the careers of outdoor leaders so that they can protect our traditions and ensure they are passed down for future generations. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
At the Stone of Accord, our liquor store has an extensive selection of Irish whiskeys, wine, and local spirits. We also have exciting events daily, and our complimentary beverages are always served with a smile. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair, restaurant, liquor store, and casino. Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair, restaurant, liquor store.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The Missoula Paddleheads ended June on a roll and now enter July tied for first place in the Pioneer League. Hello, I'm Andrew Houghton. On Sunday in Billings, Missoula's Armand Saburi gave up 2 runs in the 9th, but struck out Jacob Klein with a 6-5 win for the Paddleheads over the Billings Mustangs. The victory gave Missoula 5 wins in 6 games in the Magic City last week, and 7 wins in their last 8 games overall. At 26-10, the Paddleheads are tied with the Oakland Ballers for first place in the Pioneer League, with the Idaho Falls Chuckers and the Yuba Suter Highwheelers tied 2 games back. Paddlehead sluggers Roberto Pena and Adam Fogel, who each hit a home run and continue to sit first and second in the league in homers. Missoula returns to Ogren Park this week for a holiday homestand against the Great Falls Voyagers and Glacier Range Riders. All 6 games will be broadcast live on 102.9 ESPN Radio with Jeff Safford on the call. In other Pioneer League news, the Northern Colorado Owls folded on Monday after failing to secure a new stadium complex in Windsor, Colorado. The coaching staff and players for the Owls will now move to Colorado Springs and play out the remainder of their season schedule as the Colorado Springs Sky Sox.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
You're drinking everything to ease your mind. But when the hell are you gonna ease mine? You're like concrete feet in the summer heat. It burns like hell when two souls meet. No, you'll never be the man that you always swore. But I remember you singing in that 88 Ford.
Welcome back. Today's playlist presented by the Zootown Music Festival coming up this weekend. A little Casey Musgraves. It's actually a Zach Bryan song, but her part is not only great but very famous. She'll be one of the many headliners coming up Friday and Saturday. So looking forward to see how all this goes. Welcome back. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, the ESPN MT app, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. No matter how you're tuning in, we appreciate you being here. If you'd like to be a part of the show, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. It is a Tuesday. That means it's a Tag Tuesday. Tag Larry Dilly, best sandwiches in the state of Montana. Don't believe me? Well, how about the People Magazine and the Food Network? They both have named Tag the best sandwiches in the state of Montana. It's not just the sandwiches, though. They have great old world wine. They have phenomenal Italian-style goods, olive oils, balsamic vinegars. Check them out. 2 locations, one in the Sawmill District on Wyoming, as well as one on the corner of Beckwith and Higgins. Tag Larry Deli. Tag Tuesday every Tuesday here on Nuanez Now. You want free tag? Call right now. 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Call number 3. We got free $25 gift card for you to Tag Larry Delicatessen. 406-888-1029. Treasure State Stars, probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Treasure State Star number 1. The Silver Linings Dragon Boat Team. Silver Linings Foundation is an unbelievable nonprofit that's based here in Missoula, but has ties all around the state of Montana. Their whole message is for breast cancer survivors to either get fit and also exercise through the lens of Dragon Boat and or paddling. The message is exercise is medicine, and they have this whole collaboration and conglomeration of breast cancer, either fighting people that are fighting it or people that are have beaten it, breast cancer survivors. Anyways, they have this huge deal coming up this next month. We'll tell you more about that a little later on. But last week, they were up at the Concord Dragon Boat Festival in Vancouver, British Columbia, which is the largest Dragon Boat Festival in North America. And the Silver Linings team took the gold amongst the 33 all breast cancer survivor teams. That's awesome. Super cool. The boat race and the video of it is awesome. Nan Condit, who's a great friend of the show and sort of the gal that spearheads this whole thing, she sent me a video of the last, I don't know, I'd say 90 to 120 seconds of this race. It's thrilling. And the way that the commentators play it out, I mean, they come from way behind. They're digging, and they're going, and then they get over the line, and super cool. Nan sent a text. She said, we were surprised as heck that we were able to win this thing. They raced over 4 times on that course over the weekend, but this was the final one for the gold in the A Cup. Amongst all the 33 teams that were breast cancer survivor teams in this Dragon Boat Festival, and really, really cool. So congratulations to her and her team and everybody else. We'll hear from the Silver Linings Foundation next week. Nan had a little bit of a personal emergency she had to take care of. She was supposed to be here today live, but she couldn't make it, but we'll make up. We'll catch up with her and make it up to her next week. One note she wanted me to mention, though, is that the team attributes a ton of their success to Mike Rankin. Mike Rankin is a legendary personal trainer here in the city of Missoula. He also, though, was an all-time great Grizz football player. He was a Grizz in the late 80s. I believe he ended his Grizz career as the all-time leading tackler in program history. He's had several other unbelievably great players pass him, guys like Robbie Howe, Colt Anderson, Vince Hunsberger, but Mike Rankin was the man in the late 1980s, and he's still the man. Trains at the Peak. He trains the Silver Linings gals. So I just want to give a shout-out to Mike Rankin. Treasure State Star number 2, Treasure State Stars, probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Parkside Credit Union, a great place in western Montana to get a loan because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. Mark Messmer, the champion of the Missoula Marathon. This is the 6th time in a row he's won the race. No one else has won it since 2018. That's because there was no race in 2020 or 2021, but still, Messmer, who's a Missoula native, a Sentinel graduate, he's still the man. He is Mr. Missoula Marathon, and that's a great thing. It's, the marathon has become a, dare I say, national, if not international event. It draws thousands of people to Missoula in June. It's just kind of cool to me that a Missoulian is the guy in this thing, and that he is, he's a world-class marathoner. If you're running 220, 221 in any sort of marathon, you're tearing it up. You're doing great. Thank you, Andrew, for the text. We also have Paddleheads tickets for tonight, tomorrow, and the next day. So if you'd like to go to a Missoula Paddleheads game, congratulations to our Tag Tuesday winner, by the way. But if you'd like to go to a Paddlehead, we should have just paired these together, but either way. If you'd like to go to a Paddleheads game, we got tickets for you, 406-888-1029. Andrew Houghton's behind the glass. He's manning it, manning the phones. Call right now, caller number 1, 406-888-1029. Treasure State Star number 3, Carter Dahlke. He's a soon-to-be Bozeman Gallatin senior, and he recently committed to the Montana State Bobcats. Dahlke is unbelievably intriguing to me because offensively, he has a handful of very, very prominent comps. That's the other part that's fascinating to me, is that Montana used to be a rough-and-tumble state that the best players coming out of the state were offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, tight ends, and you still can get a lot of great talent at those spots. But the absolute best talent from the state over the last handful of years has been tiny little slot receivers. It started with Gabe Sulcer, who had one of the great high school careers in the history of the state of Montana. It continued with Junior Bergen, who was a fellow Billings senior product who was tearing it up over there. Then Taco Dowler took the reins as a Billings West product, who then went on to now be one of the great players for the Bobcats. Of course, Sulcer and Bergen both played for the Grizz. And now Dahlke takes those reins. And you look at his offensive stats last year, 58 catches, 1,208 yards, 13 touchdowns. He also rushed for 648 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's all like right on par, if not superior, to those 3 guys I just named. Here's the part that makes Dahlke so fascinating. He also had 65 tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, and 9 PBUs last year. He plays corner. He's 5'8". That's crazy. 10.5 tackles for loss and 7 sacks as a corner. I know they're dialing it up for him at Gallatin. They're bringing him off the edge. Sometimes he's not just a true corner. He's like a nickel. So he's like an outside linebacker in those situations. It doesn't matter, man. The guy's 5'8", 165 pounds. You got 7 sacks as a 5'8", 165-pounder? Like, think about this. Derek Opitz from Helena Capital is one of the best defensive line prospects in the state of Montana. He's committed to Montana, the University of Montana, after this last week. He's great. He's super disruptive. Just consider this. He's 6'3", 260. And again, he's a big-time prospect. It's a great get for the Grizz. Carter Dahlke had 3 tackles for loss and 4 more sacks than Derek Opitz. That's crazy. I don't care how many corner or nickel blitzes you're running. I don't care what you're doing. If you got 7 sacks as a 5'8", 165-pound guy, you got a nose for the football. You're the man. like you're balling. I also would love to know, this would be a great statistical analysis. Dalkey, again, he had 20 total touchdowns last year. What player in Montana history has had 20 total offensive touchdowns as a non-quarterback and also 10-plus tackles for loss? That is a crazy formula to combine for some of these, for anybody, for any sort of player. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, Treasure State Stars, probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Treasure State Star number 4, Ray Smart and Hunter Loesch. We paired them together because they are each the Montana Track and Field Gatorade Athletes of the Year. Ray Smart was a three-peat this year in track and field. She won the shot put, the discus, and the javelin. She's a Billings Skyview senior who set the all-class record in the javelin. And then Hunter Loesch is one of the great javelin throwers in the country. He had multiple marks that would have set the all-class record in the state of Montana if they had occurred at the state meet. But it doesn't matter because he went to Nike Outdoor Nationals and got third. So he's definitively, unquestionably one of the best javelin throwers in the country. He's a senior at Corvallis. So that's your news of the week. Ray Smart, Hunter Loesch, the Gatorade Track and Field Athletes of the Year for the state of Montana. Treasure State number 5, Peyton Taylor. He is a 29-year-old who grew up in Florida, played golf at Liberty, but he's lived in Montana for the last handful of years. He won the Montana State Amateur Golf Tournament this last week at the Missoula Country Club. His 54-hole total was 6 under par. He outlasted Cade McDonough, who's one of the great amateur golfers in recent memory in Montana. And it was a fun, heartwarming story. I talked about it quite extensively yesterday, so if you want to know more details about it, go check out the podcast. Church Day Star number 6, Luke Mest. He's a member of the Grizz cross country team. He also won the Tony Banovich 5K at the Missoula Marathon. So I just thought it was fun that a contemporary athlete that had stuck around Missoula for the summer got in on the action of the Missoula Marathon and won a race. So just one of the many things that makes communal running in the summer great in Western Montana. Church Day Stars probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Parkside Credit Union, a great place in Western Montana to get a loan because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. Current City Spotlight coming up. That's next. Keep it right here at 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers, because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test, so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on, because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair, restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
For 20 years, there's been a sound that's helped define Missoula. A sound as unique as the people who call this place home. The Trail 1033. We're grateful. We're honored. We remain true to the community and true to the music. Tune in for the celebration. Tune in for the party. Tune in for the next 20 years. We can hardly wait.
I can't wait.
The Trail 1033.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
When that foghorn blows, I'll be coming home. Yeah, when that foghorn whistle blows, I want to hear it. And I won't have to fear it. And I want to rock your gypsy soul. Just like way back in the days of old.
You got to be the man to cover Van Morrison. Jason Isbell certainly is. Jason Isbell in the 400 unit, one of the headliners of this upcoming weekend's Zootown Music Festival. That is the inspiration for our playlist here all week long here on Nuanez Now. Appreciate you for tuning in. 1029 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, the ESPN MT app, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, 1029ESPN.com, all the ways you can tune in. Thanks for being here. Time for our Garden City Spotlight, probably presented by Missoula Electric Co-op. Missoula Electric Co-op, providing power to western Montana and Idaho for more than 100 years. Andrew, I've been thinking about this question for the last couple weeks. I've had this on the outline. We haven't actually got to it. In your mind, who was the MVP or the star of the year in Grizz athletics? Because I think that the fact that there's not a definitive answer is revelatory and revealing about the Grizz athletic department as a whole in a lot of different ways. Good, really good ways, and maybe some ways that you could be critical about it. Like on one end, you could say, well, Bobby Houck doesn't like stars, so it can't be anybody from the Grizz football team, even though Junior Bergen has a strong case. And I don't know if he can make that case, though, in this last year, because he certainly, over the course of his career, was deserving of that award. But also then you look at, there's very few dings in the resume for the Grizz basketball team, for example, from last year. They won 26 games. They went to the NCAA tournament. But Travis DeCuire likes to play a team-oriented style. And then you go on down the line. It's the same thing with the Grizz soccer team. Like, it's almost like there's this omnipresent cultural thing where it's a team-oriented style as an athletic department. And I think that when you win, if you win the Big Sky title, everybody's like, man, gosh dang, Travis DeCuire, what a team-oriented deal. Chris Chitovitsky, man, he makes all his players get along. And then when it's like, oh, you go 9-5 as a Grizz football team, why can't Bobby Houck have stars? It's like this polarizing thing. It's just an interesting dynamic, though, because if you were to say, who is the Grizz star of the year, it's hard to determine. Like, if you say this for the Bobcats, you're like, well, Tommy Mellott. Tommy Mellott was the man. He won the National Player of the Year in the FCS. He led the Bobcats to the championship game. It's not even close to that easy with the Grizz, even though they won multiple Big Sky championships in team sports this last calendar year.
Yeah, I'm glad we came back to this because this has been a fantastic question. And like you said, it's been on the outline for a while, and I think you're dead on right. I mean, your initial instinct is to say that Travis DeCuire is the Grizz star of the year, but that's just such a cop-out. So let me throw some...
But maybe it's not, right?
Right. Like, I think that's just the best answer.
He's still here. I've been thinking about this for the last couple weeks because as I fully admitted and criticized myself yesterday, I was like, okay, I've had a hard time wrapping my mind around Cedric Coward being a lottery pick and Dylan Jones being a top 20 pick, because what did those guys actually win in the Big Sky? But then I came back around after really deeply thinking about it and thought to myself, well, the main reason those guys didn't win anything, quote unquote, didn't win anything in the Big Sky is because of Danny Sprinkle and Travis DeCuire.
Yeah.
And so then maybe the notion that these coaches pump to us on this show and on Skyline Sports constantly, that the Big Sky is this coaches league with unbelievable coaches, is true. And then maybe you go all the way down the line and you say, you've had 4 guys that got drafted in the first round of the NBA draft in the last 3 years out of the Big Sky. You've had multiple other guys get two-way deals like Raekwon Battle and Isaac Jones. But who's the guy that wins the league every year?
The best coach.
Travis DeCuire and Danny Sprinkle.
Yeah.
So then maybe those guys are that good. So it is. Maybe Travis DeCuire is the answer. Maybe he is the MVP of Grizz Athletics.
Well, let me throw a couple more names at you. Here's who I think the actual answer is if we're picking an athlete. I think it's Tom Bittner.
That's a really good one. I mean, he finished as a top 25 guy in the entire Western region in tennis. He was the number 1 singles player for the Grizz as they won the Big Sky tournament title and went to the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
He was I can't remember what the phrasing of the award is, but he's like the guy that's like the
guy to watch
the
for
future
next year.
Star of next year or whatever, which
Yeah.
like basically esteems him as like one of the greatest players in the country coming into next year. So that's a really good pick. I really appreciate that.
Let me throw a couple more at you.
Okay.
For basketball, I think you got to throw a basketball player in there. For me, the defining player figure of this year's Grizz basketball team was Brandon Whitney. And
Wow.
I know that he didn't have the numbers and he didn't have the stats. I just thought that, he was the man. He's
the man.
The 5th-year senior.
He's the closer.
Breaking all the records. And yeah, I mean, when they needed a bucket, what is it? It's Brandon Whitney beating his man to the basket. And he did so much else for him between the defense, running the offense.
He was the Chris Paul of the Grizz. I know that's like extrapolation to the maximum because Chris Paul's one of the greatest players in the history of basketball. But but he was the guy that you put the ball in his hands. He's going to score 4 to 6 points in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game.
And everything
get you a
up
stop.
to that.
Get you a stop, get you into all your stuff.
Everything up to that, the first, 35 minutes of the game, he spent setting his guys up, getting everybody in rhythm, playing tough defense. So, I don't know. I wouldn't pick anybody from the basketball team just because of the reasons that we already talked about. But for me, it was Brandon Whitney. I think on the women's side, probably Erin Wild deserves a mention. Another more individual sport there, track and field.
5-time champion in the high jump, 3-time regional qualifier. She's a Montana girl from Whitefish. That's also a very good pick. Whitney Morrison probably has to be somewhere in the conversation as well as somebody that came out of the sort of the doldrums of injury to then go double time. I mean, she won the heptathlon and the pentathlon, which is a very challenging task in the multis and track. So I think both of those are very good as well.
And then the last thing I would mention is, again, it's really tough to pick somebody for the Grizz soccer team. Jen Estes was phenomenal. Bayless Flynn was phenomenal, having
goalie,
to fill
right?
in goal.
Yeah.
The real answer is Charlie Boone. I mean, Charlie Boone is the most calm, composed, collected defender that I have ever seen. And then for a center back, it's exactly what you want. And the fact is that I know the Grizz went to this new formation and they scored a ton more goals this year. It's always a defensive first team with Chris Chudovitsky, and Charlie Boone was just the heart of that. And it's sort of like Brandon Whitney, that's a little bit of a career achievement award there, but if you really know the game, you could just watch her the entire game, and she never does anything wrong, and she does a lot of things really, really impactful as well. She was phenomenal to watch all year. She's been phenomenal to watch her whole career, but she was awesome this year.
Last one I throw in there is Tara Olweiler, the great sprinter, because it doesn't matter what level of track you're at. If you do the double dip, the 100 meters and the 200 meters, that's just straight up iconic. She's the first Grizz woman to do that since 1987. By the way, that's the year I was born, and I'm old. I have no hair left, so that's a long time. And she did it as a sophomore, but it's also a complete anomaly because the Grizz have had – the Grizz track and field program has ebbed and flowed a whole bunch. But you always knew that the Grizz were going to be really good in the jumps and the multis.
Yep.
I mean, Whitney Morris is just the next in line after Lindsey Hall and Erica McLeod and some of the greatest in the history of the Big Sky Conference. You know, the javelin throwers. Like, they've had great javelin throwers, both men and women, particularly men, forever. They've had great pole vaulters. And it's based on what you can recruit. It's dang near impossible to win the sprints when you live in a cold weather state where you don't even have an indoor track to train, because you're just going to lose to Sac State, Portland State, and NAU.
Yep.
Like, you're just gonna. Like, usually the Big Sky champion in the 100 meters is going to nationals, and they're running a blazing fast time. And Tura Ola was right there. But the fact that she is a sophomore who swept those events, I mean, unless you're a complete track and field nerd like me, it's impossible to describe the level of disruption that is. Like, that's not supposed to even be possible to happen. Like, the Sac State's getting 5-star recruits in women's sprinting. NAU is getting 5-star recruits in women's sprinting. So for Tara Owa to do that, I'm not saying she should be the choice here, but she absolutely has to be in the conversation, because that's an absurd thing to do at any level. But the fact that she's in her second year in college, it just shows you the level of recruiting Doug Fraley has implemented here at the University of Montana.
And even for those top recruits that go to those other schools, like, it is so not easy to do the double, the 100 and 200.
Exactly.
Like, you think about it and you think, well, they're both sprints. How difficult can it do? Like, you remember watching Usain Bolt win both of them at the Olympics, and you're like, oh, same thing. If you're good at one, you're going to be good at the other.
But like,
it's not.
Who has even done it? Usain Bolt and Carl Lewis, and that's it, man.
That's it.
Like, Michael Johnson is the greatest 200-meter runner in the history of mankind. He never won the 100, right? Like, Noah Lyles is the man right now. He can't do the double dip. It's impossible, man.
It's impossible to do it at the same meet.
Yeah, man. It's so hard to do. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, Garden City Spotlight, proudly presented by Missoula Electric Co-op. Missoula Electric Co-op providing power to Western Montana and Idaho for more than 1 century. Take a break. A really funny Chicken Doesn't Know Sports coming your way. That's next. Keep right here at 129 ESPN Radio.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like, more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
For 20 years, there's been a sound that's helped define Missoula. A sound as unique as the people who call this place home. The Trail 1033. We're grateful. We're honored. We remain true to the community and true to the music. Tune in for the celebration. Tune in for the party. Tune in for the next 20 years. We can hardly wait.
I can't wait.
The Trail 1033.
Community impact await.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Just a little bit every day with someone new. I fall in love just a little bit every day with someone new. I fall in love just a little bit every day with someone new. I fall in love just a little bit every day with someone new.
It's so funny because when Hozier first came out, he had "Take Me to Church." I was like, all right, this it's impressive vocals or whatever, but like, if I want to listen to gospel music, I'll go to church. And then I bought the album. I didn't buy the album. How did I get this? I experienced the album before then buying it, because after I listened to it, I was like, oh man, "Take Me to Church" is just one thing, but the rest of this is like, it's different. This is different. He has this gospel style voice, but unbelievable songwriting. He's got some darkness in him. That song was the one that really like turned the corner for me, and then I listened to the rest of the album, and then here I am. Can't wait to see him this weekend at the Zootown Music Festival. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. Appreciate you for tuning in, no matter if you're listening on 102.9 ESPN Missoula, watching on SWX Montana Television, streaming on ESPN MT, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. I'm Colter Nuanez. We're coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal, the only bear that should be in your garbage. If you have a construction project, you need a rollout box, call Grizzly Disposal, 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, proud to sponsor the Nuanez Now studio. If you missed any of the show, you can find it on the podcast. Probably presented by Elevated Tax, elevating you and your business with a modern professional touch. Carol and the Chicken Doesn't Know Sports coming up. We don't have a show Thursday. We don't have a show Friday. Happy 4th of July weekend to everybody out there. Friday is usually Florence Coffee Company Friday, and Floco has these delicious huckleberry smoothies. I got my son one the other day. He loved it. He lapped it up. They're healthy. They're cool and refreshing. No matter where you're at in Montana, there's a Florence Coffee Company near you. Let's have some fun. Short week, so that means we're hearing from Carol and the Chicken Doesn't Know Sports a couple days early here on Nuanez Now. First of all, where does 4th of July rank amongst your holidays? Are you a big 4th of July gal?
I mean, I'll take any day off. So, yeah. But I like 4th of July. I'm a Christmas is my number one.
Love Christmas.
Love Thanksgiving because you get Thursday and Friday off.
Mm-hmm.
But I love summer. I love 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like any holiday, really. I'm pretty much I'm down with any holiday.
All right.
What about you?
4th of July is my favorite holiday.
Is it?
Definitely.
So what are you doing for the 4th?
Height of summer, blowing stuff up, drink as much as you want, nobody cares. If you drink too much on Christmas, you get in trouble. I've learned this the hard way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. But on 4th of July, it's okay.
Doesn't matter.
See, I don't really day drink.
Sure.
So, like, I'm not going to,
yeah.
Although I day drink
Sometimes on Christmas, the presents start so early, I want to start drinking at like 9 o'clock. That's probably not appropriate.
Especially with little kids.
Yeah, at least at like 2 p.m. at 4th of July, you get started.
Yeah.
But barbecuing the meats, you don't have to dress up.
I really like 4th of July because at Georgetown Lake, we have a little community up there, and it's really fun up there. And it's not crazy like Flathead.
Here's the other part that sucks about Thanksgiving and Christmas. All the moms get so stressed out. 4th of July, you just go take a $100 bill to the fireworks stand, take another $100 bill to the beer store, and you're good.
I mean, Hong Kong Harry's is our family's jam.
Man, there's some great ones around around Western Montana, certainly. Well, happy 4th of July, everybody. And we're a couple days away here from the 4th. But
what are you doing for the 4th?
Well, it's the Zootown Music Festival here in Missoula, and I'm a little apprehensive about it. I don't know. I just don't know how it's going to go. Like, I don't have a plan for the plan of what it's going to be.
Do you have tickets? Are you going?
We have tickets. Okay. We're going. First of all, we're trying to tackle, because we want to go to shows both nights.
Mm-hmm.
babysitters back-to-back nights, and it's a holiday that everybody's got something going on, so we're trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Maybe I bite the bullet, just don't go one of the nights, and just let my wife go one of the nights without me, which that'd be fine. But I also just don't know how it's going to work just from a logistical perspective.
See, music festivals to me are my worst nightmare.
Right.
So not even an
if
issue
it's like
for me.
adequately crowded, great. If it's going to be like so unbelievably crowded, I'm not into it either.
Well, how many tickets did they sell?
That's a
do you
good
know?
question.
Oh.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
Oh.
Yeah.
What if it's like Firefest?
This thing could be everything from Firefest to Woodstock or anything in between. And
Which Woodstock?
None of them. I would
99?
believe. No, 1969, not
Okay.
1999.
Because 99 was a disaster.
It was. If I could have seen Korn in that exact moment, though, it probably would have been the peak of my entire existence.
Limp
as a
Bizkit
human.
for me.
Yeah, either one.
Yeah.
12-year-old Coulter would have thought that was the greatest thing he's ever seen. Anyways, happy 4th of July, everybody. What are you guys doing? Going to Lake? Going to Georgetown?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Carol, Chicken Does No Sports. What do you got this week?
All right. So I need to kind of have a follow-up from last week. We talked about, you were not here, but
I was not here.
We talked about Ace Bailey, how he was drafted to Utah and he was not happy.
Yeah.
Apparently he figured out Utah's benefits, which I mentioned last week, which is
What were the benefits that you listed?
soaking and dirty sodas. So
how about like beautiful scenery and women? Utah has both. Utah has beautiful people. I shouldn't just say women.
Yeah. That's great too.
Utah has good-looking folks. And
Utah's great. It was a joke.
I get it.
That now has twice been gone over my co-hosts' heads.
I know. I get it. Soaking in dirty sodas.
My friend heard.
Are you into the dirty soda thing?
No. I'm also not into soaking.
So those, I think there's people that probably don't know what a dirty soda is. This has become a pop culture thing because of these crazy women that have their TikTok channels, and now they have a show.
So dirty
which is
soda,
the most depraved show on the earth.
Yes,
by the way.
I talked about it a little bit last week.
Does Andrew watch this?
No. But I said maybe he's watched. Maybe Ace had seen.
If you are I shouldn't say that. That's probably controversial, but I'd say avoid watching this show at all costs, particularly if you are a male.
The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
Yes. If by chance you need to watch it with your partner in order to get some leeway on your own television watching, like, I trade the basketball for the Mormon Wives. It's fair compromise. But man, these people act like they're Nick's age.
I know.
They're like grown people, they're like sophomores in high school.
But they're stunted because
they are. They have like
stunted
stunted arrested development.
Yes.
And that's why they drink soda all day every day, because they're like
they
children.
go to these dirty soda places. They get like a Dr. Pepper with cream,
bunch of syrup in it.
Syrup and cream in it. So Dr. Pepper's already got a ton of sugar in it. And then you throw in coconut cream and whatever. Now, some of the girls do with diet and sugar-free stuff.
Whatever.
It's just, I've tried a dirty soda. Very sweet.
Yeah.
Now, my son would love it.
Sure.
But not for me. I like my Diet Coke, OG Diet Coke.
Well, now these are spread around because there's potentially maybe a dirty soda shop coming to Missoula.
There is one.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they'll do great. And I might try a Diet Coke. You know what I might do is like a vanilla Diet Coke.
Sure.
That
okay.
might be delicious.
Man. Wild. All
yeah.
right.
So anyway.
Anyways.
Back to Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey, Rutgers, top 5 NBA draft pick. Didn't want to go to Utah.
As of last week when we recorded, he had not reported to Utah. Saturday, he reported to Utah.
Okay.
He acted like he was happy about it. He clearly got a PR team that said, get your butt to Utah, young man. You're being a brat.
Yeah.
Because now he has a great attitude on the outside. So
what did he ever say what his drawbacks to Utah was?
I think there were 3 teams he wanted to be drafted to.
Okay.
Brooklyn, the Wizards, and someone else.
He wanted to go to the Wizards. That's amazing.
I don't know if that's...
He's from there, so I can see that.
So there were 3 teams he wanted. He did some stuff. He didn't show up to some workouts he was invited to. Like, I don't remember who. But I think he was a little arrogant and thought he...
Yeah, for NBA fans of a certain age, the fact that the Jazz are this downtrodden franchise that's in this state of disarray is wild. The Jazz were among the most stable, great franchises in all of pro sports for so long. And I don't know how they got to this point. It's also a mind bender for people that live out in this part of the country, because we think of Salt Lake as this giant city.
Yeah.
But Salt Lake is this tiny market compared to DC or Brooklyn or
Yeah.
Chicago or LA or Toronto.
But that's how great to be a big fish in a small pond. I mean,
Sure, right. And it's still a huge city. I mean,
And Utah, but joking aside, Utah is gorgeous.
totally.
Salt Lake City is a pretty cool town.
Well, and they love the Jazz there too.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be like the man.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to be somebody there.
I mean,
and by the way, he's 18. He has a very long career ahead of him.
That's right. That's
He's
right.
not, he doesn't have to stay there forever.
Yeah, being 6'10", Ace Bailey, walking around in Salt Lake City, I think you're going to find that you're going to have a pretty nice time in
Yeah,
your
I
life.
think he's going to have a good old time.
I think people are going to be like, oh, it's Ace Bailey. Whatever you want, man.
Yeah. We won't give you 3-2 beer. We'll give you the real beer.
You can drink real beer in Salt Lake now.
Oh, you can?
Yeah,
Oh.
you can. You can actually drink real liquor.
What if
all
they
that.
do dirty beer?
Whoa.
Instead of dirty soda.
All right, so Ace Bailey's back in it. So you're proud
He's
of his
in it.
PR team.
Yes. I wish he had had this PR team prior to his draft because I was very angry with him last week because I thought he looked like a real brat. So someone should have told him, no matter who drafts you, smile and be happy and be humble. And no one told him that. So he allegedly also was supposed to be the number 3 pick and dropped down to number 5.
And his teammate got drafted ahead of him.
Did you know that there were 5 players from Duke
I did.
that got drafted? All freshmen?
Unsurprising.
I know. I guess that just seems like a lot off their team.
Well, I mean, they should have won the national championship last year, and they lost in a heartbreaker in the Final Four. But
Who did they play?
Houston is who beat them.
Oh, okay.
And then Florida beat Houston in the national championship game. This is a complete aside, but the Ace Bailey Dylan Harper thing is wild. I don't know if you touched on this. I know you didn't. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper were both played for Rutgers last year. They were both freshmen for Rutgers a year ago. Rutgers wasn't good last year. They had 2 top 5 picks, but they weren't good. How? How does that happen? Like, what does it say about Rutgers, but also what does it say about those players? It just a really weird situation.
Is Rutgers usually really good?
No.
Oh, okay.
They're not, but it just seems crazy that you'd have 2 of the top 5 players in the entire country, and you wouldn't even they didn't even make the NCAA tournament.
Wow.
So, like, how did that happen?
Well, one of them 6'10".
And then Dylan Harper is 6'6".
Yeah.
So the other part, I thought maybe you'd found Dylan Harper via the TikTok. So Dylan Harper is Ron Harper's son. Ron Harper was the point guard for the Michael Jordan Bulls.
Oh.
His mother is very attractive and has a very prominent TikTok.
Is he the one that everyone's talking about, the mom? Like,
Exactly.
She was super cute.
And it's so funny because you're like, man, he's only 19, so his mom is like not old. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I don't know how old she is, but
She's probably 40 or less.
she's not
Or,
she's not like senior citizen like a lot of people's
Yeah.
moms. You know what I mean? Like, so there was just a bunch of funny memes.
I did see the stuff
and
about the
trickle-outs
mom.
of like you sit next to his mom at the draft table, and they're like, "Man, look at Dylan Harper's girl." And
That's
it's
what
like,
I
"No,
thought.
it's
I was like,
not-
oh, is
it's
that
not
his
girl, it's
girlfriend?
his mom.
Yeah.
So-
She's very, very
so
cute.
great job, Ron Harper. First of all,
Yeah.
For having the
I don't think it's hard for someone like Ron Harper to land a hot chick.
indeed,
So
indeed,
let's just keep that in mind.
indeed.
Okay. Is LeBron getting traded?
Is that a rumor?
It's a rumor.
Man, how are you up on the NBA stuff more than us? This is crazy.
His agent
Carol and the Chicken Doesn't Know Sports knowing about the NBA.
His
Wow.
agent hinted that some teams are interested, but
Okay.
LeBron has a no trade clause. So
He
how
does.
does that work?
Means that if they try to trade him, he could say no.
Oh, but he could say yes.
He could definitely
so it's really
say
not
yes.
a no trade clause. It's
He just
a
said, yeah,
maybe
he
trade
can
clause.
say no or yes, or he can also indicate if he's going to sign with the team that they trade him.
Do you think he would leave the Lakers?
I think with where LeBron is at in his career, it would be stupid for LeBron to leave the Lakers for any circumstances because they're still probably like, well, I think before this year, there was probably still like a 2% chance that LeBron James could win a championship. Now that's probably grown to be about a 10 to 15% chance because Luka Doncic is so good and so much younger. But still, I think we're to the point for LeBron where that's probably in the rear view. LeBron's got to stay in LA because of LeBron Inc.
Yeah.
Like all the business stuff.
How long has he been in LA though? Now, 15 years?
No. This is like year 7.
No.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so.
I thought it was longer than that.
I'll tell you. So he
was Cleveland.
He played for the Cavs throughout the 2000s. Then in 2010, he did the decision and went to Miami.
That's right. I forgot about Miami.
And then he went back to Cleveland. I'll tell you exactly the timeline. LeBron James played for Cleveland from 2003 to 2010, Miami from 2010 to 2014, the Cavs from 2014 to 2018. So this will be year 8 in LA, 2018
Oh,
to
wow.
now.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if he can, from a business perspective, leave.
I mean, I think he could also maybe retire.
He's not retiring.
Until he gets a championship?
I mean, why would he retire?
How old is he?
I mean, he is 40. He's going to be 41 in December.
That's why.
I mean, he was, I think he was second team All NBA this year, though, still.
Okay. I mean, look, he can do what he wants. He's not going to listen to me, but I just think there's a point.
LeBron James this previous season averaged 24.4 points, 8.8 rebounds, and 7.8 assists per game.
Is that good?
That's maybe like one basket less than his career averages, but everything else is like on par or better than what it has been.
Okay. You know, remember, like, do you remember Seinfeld? And everyone was like, you should have ended it a year earlier because you want to end on top.
Yes.
This is a deep 90s cut.
Yes.
That's how I feel about some of these athletes. Like,
sure,
leave while you're on top.
Yeah, I get it. And I think that the romantic version of all of this, I just think that you can't understate these guys' competitive drives.
I know.
I mean, Michael Jordan hit the game-winning shot to win the finals, to win his 6th championship, and he like had the perfect pose of just the follow-through. It's cinema. It could not have gone better than that.
And how old was he?
And he walked away. And then what did he do?
Came back.
He came back.
Yeah. Well, first he played some baseball a little bit?
No, that was in the middle.
Oh, okay.
He retired in the middle, came back, won 3 more championships, then retired again, then came back and played for the Wizards.
That's right.
Which is just so stupid.
Yeah. But wasn't he part owner or something?
No, then he bought the Bobcats, part of the Bobcats. You're
see,
the chicken doesn't
you
know
think
sports.
I know things and then I don't.
All right, so what are they going to do?
I think this is just one of those, like, let's get the word out. Let's make it seem this way. I don't think it's possible. I don't think he would be traded, but what do I know?
Well, he could get traded just because of his salary.
But then I read that he can't get traded because of his salary.
Right, because it's too much.
It's like
for people
$52
to
million.
absorb, yeah.
So I'm sure he'll be a Laker for life.
By the time this latest cycle of free agency is done, you are not even going to know what to think of these salaries.
I don't even want to hear it.
Steph Curry is set to make $67 million next year.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to get political here, but Jeff Bezos just had his wedding.
$60 million wedding. Rented out the city of Venice.
People are very, very angry at how rich he is.
Well, it's absurd.
But no one's angry at how rich these guys are.
So my wife and I were doing the math on this. And we have, I would say, just like pretty middle class earnings, especially for people that just live in Missoula, which has become so expensive. But we would have to work for 21,000 years at our current wages to be as rich as Jeff Bezos.
I understand.
Think of how crazy that is.
I think that's crazy.
Like I was saying to Andrew yesterday, when you really put it in perspective, is you think about this. There's only 52 weeks in a year. So if you're making over $52 million a year, you're making over $1 million a week to play basketball.
That's what I'm saying, though. Nobody is saying eat the rich basketball players. They're saying they're all mad at Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates.
Well, it's because they can pass the buck along to the people that own the team, because the people that own the team own all these guys.
I know, but my point is like, it's just funny. I've seen all this stuff on social media about like how angry people are at Jeff Bezos and all these billionaires, and everyone is entitled to their feelings, so please calm down.
Totally.
But it's just funny that no one's getting mad at these guys.
Totally. It's also, I mean, think about this. Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and LeBron James combined all their net worth. Jeff Bezos still has 10 times as much money as all that.
That's fine.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. I'm not saying
Here's my brother's theory. He says that billionaires should not be allowed. Once you make $999,999,999, you then get to be tax exempt for the rest of your life. You get to keep that. And all the other money that you earn has to go into the public good for education and building parks and all that.
I like that.
And you get to keep all your money.
Yeah,
so you get to have
no tax.
$1 short of $1 billion, and you get to have all of it. And you can do whatever you want with it. And every dollar you generate after that, it goes towards the
back
public
to
good.
I think that's actually a really good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Because what happens at the end of the game? It's like the old parable. If you gave every man in the world the same amount of money, at the end of the game, one man has all the money.
Yeah.
Like what happens when that's the reality?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Well,
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
I don't need to get into Jeff Bezos.
I
just meant you see all this backlash about really, really, really rich people, but it never applies to athletes. That's all.
Carol, let's no sports here on ESPN Radio, probably presented by Hot House Yoga. All right, what else you got?
All right, WNBA. So I have a couple stories. First off, Kelsey Plum. She plays for the Sparks.
She does.
She's
a former University of Washington standout.
Okay. She saw a teen. She was warming up during a game. She was not playing whoever Caitlin Clark plays for. Fever?
The Fever, Indiana Fever.
But this teen girl had a Caitlin Clark t-shirt on. And Kelsey Plum walked over to her and said, she cannot wear that in this gym. And that the teen girl, you need to do better.
Wow.
And so then she went and got a Sparks t-shirt for the girl to change into.
Wow.
I find that to be so ridiculous. I also want to point out, and I'm going to say it, and it's sexist, and I don't care. You would not see LeBron do that to someone.
You don't think?
No.
Like if somebody was, yeah, you're right. You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
If I was in the Lakers, if I was in whatever at the Lakers game, wherever they play, Staples Center. Is it still Staples Center?
Yeah, it is.
And I'm wearing a Michael Jordan jersey.
Yeah.
LeBron would not walk over to me and tell me I cannot wear that shirt.
Yeah, interesting.
These girls are so...
Maybe it's easier to walk over and tell people stuff to do in the WNBA because there's 14 people there.
I thought you were going to say because they're women. I just think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think it's so petty. And also be grateful to Caitlin Clark.
So here's the way this could have gone better. Instead of Kelsey Plum saying, you can't or shouldn't wear that here, get out of here or whatever, she could have just said, let's get our home court advantage going. Here's a signed jersey of mine.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yes. If you want to not have someone wearing a Caitlin Clark jersey, yes, come over and say, hey, the Fever aren't playing tonight, but here's a Sparks shirt.
Yeah.
Make it cute and fun and whatever, but don't make it petty. So, we've talked about how these girls just hate Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
The players, so there was a vote. I don't know what it was for, but 1.293 million fans voted for Caitlin Clark to be the number one
in the All-Star
game. In the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark was 9th among her own, not teammates, but among the peers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Caitlin Clark, you can be the most popular and not the best.
No, I know. I just think it's interesting.
It's totally
none of these girls can appreciate what Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA.
If there's any girl that deserves to be jealous of Caitlin Clark and actually has ground to stand on for her elevated, if not overrated, reputation, it's Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum was a better college basketball. I shouldn't say better. Was as good of a college basketball, almost as, I don't know. Kelsey Plum she's the greatest scorer in women's basketball history, period, at the collegiate level. She's also won 2 WNBA championships. She is absolutely one of the best players in the league, and I would say at this exact moment on par, if not better than Caitlin Clark. And it's actually fascinating to me that she hasn't gotten more of the spillover attention because Caitlin Clark's this phenomenon because of all these different reasons, but specifically like how far away from the basket she can shoot. Kelsey Plum doesn't quite have that range, but she's got pretty ridiculous range. The other part about Kelsey Plum is that she's in the mix in pop culture. You've talked about her before on the segment.
I know.
You do, okay. Because she was
dating
Darren Waller, who's the tight end for the Giants,
yeah.
and then she had the breakup and she was just roasting him. She was wearing these t-shirts that were like shredding him. And the last part is, and this is me coming to your side on this one, Kelsey Plum's way more attractive than Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
So it's sort of surprising that she isn't a bigger star.
Yeah.
How much do you think Caitlin? Well, this is a loaded question.
I can't wait.
We're going.
Do it.
You're a woman. Women either become best friends with other good or better looking women or hate them.
Oh, interesting.
How much of, because there's several gals right now in the WNBA that are comparable to Caitlin Clark as a basketball player and also are much more marketable than Caitlin Clark from a looks perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm not just being a chauvinistic guy. Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player that ever lived. He also was the greatest marketing phenomenon ever because he is one handsome devil. The smile and it's top of the world, right? It's top notch.
Like him versus Scottie Pippen.
But it's real talk though. It's real.
Yeah.
I just wonder though if actually some of these gals get pushed to the side because they are. I guess
so
the question is Caitlin Clark more appealing because she's not the most attractive?
No. Caitlin Clark, here's what happened. Caitlin Clark had this amazing run in college basketball. And she took that fame and that notoriety to the WNBA. Yep. No one was paying attention to Kelsey Plum or the WNBA before Caitlin Clark. Everyone during those NCAA whatever.
The NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
March
the tournament.
Madness, yes.
People were like, oh my God, because they wouldn't have normally watched whatever. Who did she play for? I forgot. College.
Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa.
Amazing.
Why do you keep looking at Andrew?
Because he's laughing at you while he's eating his delicious bagel.
No one was following University of Iowa basketball until they were in the tournament and she was shooting those 3-pointers, right?
Yeah.
Then it was like, oh my God, this chick is amazing. And so then she brought that to the WNBA.
So she became the tipping point.
Yes.
Involuntarily.
Yeah. And these girls should be grateful. Do I think Kelsey Plum is better looking than Caitlin Clark? Yes. There's a lot of girls that are, but they are not. And Caitlin Clark's a very pretty girl. She just needs a little lip balm or a little gloss. Maybe you know what? I think she needs some layers in her hair too. Just a little zhuzh. But that's beside the point. She's not putting herself out there like that.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. But she brought her fame into the WNBA is my point.
Okay.
The WNBA, these girls were already kind of there, and what they should do is become friends with Caitlin Clark. Go have a night out on the town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, and not just from the woman's perspective. I've thought about this from the male perspective quite a bit too. I think if LeBron James was better looking, he'd be more widely popular.
I think LeBron's cute.
I think he's fine. Michael Jordan, though, LeBron James is, I think he, to a certain type of woman, I think is very attractive because he's enormously big. He's so strong.
Oh, and he's rich.
He's incredibly rich, but he's also to some people he would just be freakishly big because he's gigantic. I mean, he's 6. He's
not just some people,
right? Exactly. But Jordan is he's just an above average. He's on the. We've seen 6'6" people just walk around. 6'6", 210-pound guys are amongst us.
Yes, they walk amongst us.
No matter where LeBron James goes, he's a freak. And anybody that's bigger than him, you're like, that guy's a freakish freak, right? I guess what I'm saying is there is a definitive reason to me that Michael Jordan is one of one in the world of popular basketball players. And then the only guy that's even close to him after that is Magic Johnson. And it has a lot to do with what they look like.
They have those $1 million smiles.
It's true.
Yeah.
And other guys, and that's where the NBA is at this crux right now because men don't get this sort of scrutiny like women do. And that's unfair to women. But right now, all of the best candidates for the best player in the NBA are at best average looking, if not absolutely ugly. And I think people have a hard time wrapping their minds around that. Nikola Jokic is ugly. He is ugly. And I think that
he has a great personality.
Totally,
Jeez.
but just the fringe fans.
I know, yeah.
My mom will watch Michael Jordan because not only of his just natural good looks, but also because of the artistry of his beautiful game. Mm-hmm. Jokic is clunky. His game is not beautiful unless you're a basketball aficionado, and he's ugly.
And he's cranky.
And he's cranky. Right. And I think that all of that holds back from the overall No, we're just talking about to the marketing, to the fringe.
Yeah, it's not like the
people,
diehard
the
people.
pop culture people.
But I also think, and I don't want to get in trouble, but I think a lot of people don't like when people get political.
Yeah.
And I know LeBron
Sure.
has, and people have had issues with that. I don't. I love LeBron. I think he's the cutest, and I think he's like, I just think he's adorable.
Republicans buy sneakers too. Like
That's right.
Michael Jordan had the famous line, and that's the
money's
only
green.
political comment he ever made, and that
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
I think people get turned off by that. And I've
They do.
said that before and gotten in trouble for it, but I think that that's the case.
Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, the ESPN MT app. Carol, Chicken Doesn't Know Sports. What else you got?
Well, speaking of sexy WNBA stars,
Yep,
Cameron Brink.
indeed.
Another
one that should be way more marketed.
Well, she's going to be because
I
she's
bet
posing
she
nude
is.
soon.
Oh, no.
And she said she loves to post nude for the artistry.
Okay.
And so she has, I don't know where she posed because I don't know where you pose nude these days, but
Right.
she's got some photo shoot coming out and she's stunning. I mean, I didn't see the goods, but I
Okay.
saw the safe for work version, and she's a beautiful lady.
She's got great style. She's got a lot of appeal in a lot of different ways.
So she's going to, I'm sure Kelsey Plum's going to be annoyed with her too.
Man. Kelsey Plum, just kind of angry.
And she really is.
You could tell just how do you say? I
Petty.
wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of her.
Of Kelsey
you know?
Plum.
If you're going to date her, you got to marry her, because if you break up with her, man,
You're doomed.
she is going to ruin your life. Holy cow.
God, these kids these days, they don't have to put everything on social media.
That's true, too. That is definitely
Also,
true,
I
too.
wouldn't want to be known on anywhere as like a scorned woman.
Right.
I'd want to be like, no, I dumped his
Right.
ASS.
Exactly.
But
Right.
that comes with
Exactly.
age.
For sure.
So.
All right. Anything else this
No,
week?
I think one more.
Okay.
I forgot how to say his name. David Bakhtiari.
David Bakhtiari, yeah, great offensive lineman.
He went to Jordan Love's wedding
Okay.
this weekend and posted a picture and said, at least one of my quarterbacks invited me to their wedding as a dig at Aaron Rodgers because
wow.
he was not invited to Aaron Rodgers' wedding.
So David Bakhtiari has gained a certain level of cult fame. First of all, if you play for the Packers, you have a cult behind you anyways, because Green Bay people are the most insane fans that there are in sports. But Bakhtiari has become this hardcore Milwaukee Bucks fan, and he sits courtside at the games. He is an immense person. I mean, he weighs like 330 pounds.
He looks large.
His whole thing is every time that they show him on the Jumbotron, he has 2 Miller Lights ready to go, and he pounds them and then crushes the cups. And it's become like his thing.
That's awesome.
And he took some heat because people are like, you shouldn't encourage people chugging.
Oh,
It's
God.
like, okay, well, this guy is so huge.
Yeah,
This doesn't
that's
make
not
him
even
feel
gonna-
nothing. It's
yeah.
like drinking a glass of water to
Yeah.
him. Like 4% Miller Lights is nothing.
Yeah.
They're down the hatch for this guy. But then he's became even more of like a cult phenomenon because he's been doing commercials and Instagram posts for Trojan Magnum condoms.
Oh, good for him.
And he thinks he's so cool for getting this endorsement, and it's so funny. Anyways, that's awesome that he shots fired at Aaron Rodgers.
I know.
And,
At first, I was sort of like, that's in poor taste to show someone else's wedding and say that. But now that you're telling me more about him, I'm liking this.
Oh, and he's probably one of those guys when Aaron Rodgers was doing all this stuff that was like, get him out of here.
Yeah.
He's
No,
lame.
they're good friends.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
according to TMZ. But
yeah.
I thought it was funny, but also like, oh, let these people have their wedding. You don't need to talk about Aaron Rodgers right now.
Right.
But now that you're explaining him to me, it makes more sense, and it's probably his personality.
See, I want to know who did get invited to Aaron Rodgers' wedding.
Aaron Rodgers and the mystery woman.
Brittany, yeah.
Brett.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Right, because it was fake. Because it didn't happen.
You don't think he's really married?
I don't know.
You know
I
what?
don't
They
know.
probably
I don't
had
know.
a commitment ceremony.
Maybe he made her up while he was hallucinating.
on ayahuasca.
Maybe-
He's like, I got married
She's the
while I was on
she's
ayahuasca.
the peyote princess.
Oh my God, PP. It could be. What if she's all just this illusion in his mind?
Here's the thing. We talk about Aaron Rodgers a lot, and you dunk on him frequently. He's going to be done soon. And then in 10 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, Man, we miss Aaron Rodgers.
That was a good time.
It was a good time.
It was a good time.
Who else is ever going to be like this?
I don't know.
Like, I know it's annoying, but he is so out there.
I was informed last week by Andrew that Kyrie Irving is a flat earther, so he might be the next
Indeed.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's a whole different. Kyrie Irving's got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, I
not
know,
the least
I know,
of which
I know.
is the flat earther
Yeah,
thing. But
yeah.
Imagine thinking the Earth was flat.
I can't.
All right, Carol, Chick Doesn't Know Sports. You went to hot yoga this morning. How was it?
It was hot and it was great. I was a hot mess. Like, I don't even know. I think I needed more sleep, but it was wonderful. Hot house yoga, 5:45 a.m. sculpt class, amazing. They also are doing the river yoga. You can go on hothouseyogamissoula.com to sign up for classes. I definitely, it's going to be 90 today, and a river yoga class sounds amazing.
Go check out Hot House Yoga downtown at Missoula. Guess how many players in the NBA make more than $30 million?
100.
63. Jeez. $30 million a year.
Should we tell the people where we went this morning to have our pre-show meeting?
Sure, let's do it. We went to 3B Bagels downtown. It's at the old Sushihana location there on the corner of Pine and Higgins. Delicious. The best way I could describe it, first of all, we needed a bagel spot in downtown Missoula forever. Yeah. But the best way I could describe it, these bagels were light. They're like lighter
fluffy.
than, like they weren't heavy. It's not, sometimes you love the bagel, but then it's like the bagel's like sitting in your stomach. It's not how it was.
No.
Like I ate this thing a couple hours ago and I'm not overly full. It was delicious.
So good.
Homemade family recipe. They just opened today, right?
Yeah.
Today's their first day open. So go check them out. Great staff and, they make the stuff right in front of you, so you know it's homemade. So 3B Bagels downtown at Missoula. I appreciate them for their new support here of us at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Anything else?
That's it.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Coulter New.
For 20 years, there's been a sound that's helped define Missoula. A sound as unique as the people who call this place home. The Trail 1033. We're grateful. We're honored. We remain true to the community and true to the music. Tune in for the celebration. Tune in for the party. Tune in for the next 20 years. We can hardly wait.
I can't wait.
The Trail 1033.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say you get more from less.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
The ocean is salty, won't you carry it in your head, in your mouth, in your soul?
We got to get to it, so I don't have a ton of time to introduce our latest senior spotlight here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Andrew Houghton with you. Anyway, we're short on time today, but this was a really fantastic interview for our senior spotlight where we catch up with some of the top athletes in the Treasure State after their senior years before they go to compete in college. But really enjoyed this one with Leela Ormsby. She was a great volleyball player for Billings Senior, won a state championship with Billings Senior in 2022, holds the all-time Montana record for blocks. She's going over to play at Michigan State, so a great volleyball player, a really engaging conversation here, and that's all we got. We'll get into it. Here's Senior Spotlight with Leela Ormsby, great volleyball player for Billings Senior, now going to play for Michigan State. Senior Spotlight here on Nuanez Now, one of our favorite series every summer here, catching up with some of the best athletes in the Treasure State as they head off to begin their collegiate careers. And today, we're talking with one of the most dominant volleyball players to come out of Montana recently. She's the all-time Montana record holder for blocks. She won a state title in 2022 at Billings Senior, and she's going to play in college at Michigan State. It's Billings Senior's Leela Ormsby. Leela, first off, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I'm really happy to be here.
Let's just start with this. What have you been up to? How's your summer going so far?
Oh, my gosh. You know, as of today, it's officially 2 weeks that I've been moved to Lansing, Michigan. We moved out here trying to get set up with, some physical therapy and some preseason, off-season training. So it's been really hectic, kind of the transition. Like, I moved into my apartment, got to meet all of the teammates, meet all the girls, coaches, support staff. So it's been a lot of change, very drastic change, especially since I graduated high school 3 weeks ago. So it's been very much quick transition, but, I'm along for the ride. Really enjoying my time out here so far.
Well, tell me about that. How does somebody from Billings, Montana end up at East Lansing, Michigan for college at Michigan State? What was your recruiting process like, and how'd you end up where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really funny, actually, because my family wasn't connected to Michigan at all until my aunt on my mom's side of the family moved out to Michigan, and we got to come and visit them out here, get to know the lay of the land, and kind of moved from there. From Michigan State specifically, I would say that they came in towards the end of my recruiting process, honestly, and I got to know the coaching staff, got to know the players in the area a little bit better, and it came down to 2 visits at the very end, and it wasn't like on my radar up until that point. So we came out here, took my official visit, and you really do kind of get a feeling of home. And unexpectedly, it was Michigan State, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And I'm really, really glad that I trusted my gut and went where kind of I knew that I would have a place to be wanted and valued as a player and part of the program. So I found my way all the way here in Michigan, enjoying the Great Lakes State, and definitely missing home. But I did know that I always wanted to kind of get out of the area a little bit, so I'm hoping this will be the place.
Yeah, what have been sort of your first impressions of the town, the team, the program, the coaches, now that you're actually out there for real?
Yeah, it's crazy. You can talk about it on paper all you want, but it's definitely, I wouldn't say different, but it's just, I would say a lot better. I've had so much fun, getting immersed with the culture, the team culture here. Absolutely amazing. The coaching staff that I was recruited by and the coaching staff that's here right now, there are 2 different staffs. So I think that transition with my recruiting process was a little bit stressful and hectic, but the staff that's here right now is staff that, I'm so excited to build with and kind of develop a program with. So getting to meet them, getting the lay of the land with the players and my roommates has been such an incredible experience. I think the jump from, the facilities that I've had back home versus here is, obviously really amazing. The Big Ten facilities are like another, and I just am more than anything so grateful to be a part of a place like this. It's really a feeling that I got out here that was so special is how connected the entire school is, honestly, especially for such a large university. So I'm really excited to be a part of that. Hopefully I expand my circles, get to love this place even more. And the summers in Michigan are insane. Honestly, the lakeside and how green everything is here. Nothing is quite like Montana, but I would say I'm really enjoying my summer out here so far.
Well, that's awesome. Leela Ormsby, middle blocker from Billings, Montana. She's a freshman going into her freshman season now with the Michigan State volleyball team. And Leela, let's look back on your high school career a little bit. You were part of some really great teams there at Billings Senior. What are you gonna remember most about your high school career?
Oh my gosh, I think looking back on my high school career, it's a lot of love and a lot of pain, especially looking back through injuries my senior and junior seasons. It kind of puts a little twinge, it's not like the endings that any athlete would want for any of their seasons. But I think more than anything, I will take away from senior high volleyball how much love and how close our team was, especially my last year. I've talked about it with the girls all the time. I've never experienced something like it. We were a family, and I think that's how we were able to create such a legacy and continue the legacy of the senior high program, and I think what's so special is that my class may be gone, but the program itself is continuing to build and continuing to grow. Our coaching staff was second to none, absolutely incredible. I think we wanted to work for each other so bad and fight for each other, and I saw that especially with the girls after I was down with my injury. They were able to fight and give everything that they had postseason. And I just think leaving that program was one of the hardest things about leaving Montana in its entirety is because how close and connected and special that program was. And, you'll never get it back, but that's what makes it so sweet.
No doubt. Courtney Badbear, who's the head coach over there at Billings Senior, friend of the program. We've had her on several times. Always enjoy talking to her. You mentioned the injuries that you've had the last couple of years. How difficult was that? But also, what does that teach you going through that process, a couple of times?
Yeah, I think, the hardest part is the mental, that very, very uphill battle. And I think you ask yourself, why me? Why am I being get end with the success that every player dreams of ending theirs with? And I think that was really difficult, especially with not wanting to let the round. So that was a little bit difficult. Not a little bit, a lot of it difficult. But I think it was so awe-inspiring to me, the amount of support that I saw, especially coming out of my injuries from this past season. It was monumental, the amount of people that reached out, wrote letters, especially from the senior high team in itself, throughout all grade levels. And that was so humbling and made me just so grateful to realize the connections that I've been able to grow through volleyball. And besides that, it was such a mentally toughening process, 100%. I think I'm going to come away from this, and I'm telling myself I will come away from this stronger, mentally stronger, but also physically stronger. And I think that really lets you, know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, a hope that we will be able to come back from it so much mentally stronger facing obstacles such as this. And you never know until you're really going through it that how difficult it is to be on the sidelines and not being able to play and participate. But it's such it's such a mentally toughening part of the sport. So I wouldn't change my path at all. And I think going into these next 4 years, it'll give me a bounce and give me a little bit of an edge to want to be on the court even more.
We'll cut that off there because we got to go. I'll put the rest of that interview, the full interview, there's about 3 minutes left, with Leela Ormsby into the Nuanez Now podcast, so you can catch up on that. But we got to get out here. We'll be back to take you home right after this. You're listening to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Hi, Missoula. This is Justin.
For 20 years, there's been a sound that's helped define Missoula. A sound as unique as the people who call this place home. The Trail 1033. We're grateful. We're honored. We remain true to the community and true to the music. Tune in for the celebration. Tune in for the party. Tune in for the next 20 years. We can hardly wait.
I can't wait.
The Trail 1033.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
But I turned down the lights. Come on, baby, come inside. Better than being some fool's bride.
Lake Street Dive, another one of the great acts coming to Zootown this weekend for the Zootown Festival over the holiday weekend. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I'm Andrew Houghton. Sorry to cut you off from that last segment again. I'll paste the full interview with Leela Ormsby for that senior spotlight into the Nuanez Now podcast, which you can find on all of your favorite podcast hosting platforms. It's brought to you by Elevated Tax and Accounting. Visit elevatedtaxmt.com to learn how you can elevate you or your small business with a modern professional touch. Senior Spotlight, by the way, brought to you by McElmurray Homes as well as Blue Ribbon Auto Body. We'll be back at it tomorrow. It's our last show of the week. because we'll not have shows Thursday and Friday for the holiday weekend. Not sure what we're going to talk about yet tomorrow. We got plenty on the outline still that we haven't gotten to this week, so we'll do that. Same time, same place, 4 p.m. tomorrow, right here on 102.9 ESPN Radio. Keep it locked. Jeff Safford on the call. Missoula Paddleheads against the Great Falls Voyagers. Broadcast starts at 7 right here on 102.